Because some people, when you say, oh, my husband and I are going our separate ways, they go, oh, no, oh, that's sad. But you actually see this as
a celebration.
A celebration.
I really do. I look at it as one of my friends, she sent this beautiful letter to me from a woman who got a divorce. And it's all about, you know, this perspective, in my opinion, and just changing the narrative. You know, my marriage was a success.
Yeah.
I look at it as like a curriculum when you're in college or high school, right? You're learning, you're growing, you're evolving, you're creating. And I was able to create with Corey some beautiful, amazing children. And at the end of that curriculum, and at the end, there's a graduation, there's a celebration. So that's basically, you know, how I'm looking at it now. And I feel like people look at, when they look at marriage, that success equals longevity. But no, at the end of the day, it's, are they happy? Are they thriving? Are they growing? And I feel like that is what is most important. It's not about staying in something because however long you are in that situation, that equals success. It's about really, again, are you happy? Because life is really short.
What's going on, guys? I'm sorry. I'm a little stressed out. I've done so many takes on this particular topic. God. Again, let's get into it. Passport Bros, modern women. I showed this clip in the beginning to highlight a few things I want to discuss. First thing I'm gonna open up with is let's talk about emotions. Okay, emotions, first off, are nothing more than energy and motion. Literally, E equating to motion. Emotion. That's all it is. Okay, and it's up to every individual, man or woman, who has some type of control or discipline over those emotions. The problem comes from the individuals who decide to lean more towards how they feel rather than those who go about what they know. These actions tend to do things that are completely irrational, and they don't really realize the effects it has on those around them, because while giving into these feelings, they become more selfish, and it almost becomes second nature, especially depending on how strong that feeling is. It can leave you completely blind to everyone else that you're affecting or influence or anything for that matter. So let's get into it. This particular individual, Tia Maui, she said that happiness is what she needed to protect. That was what she said. She wanted to protect her own happiness. She wanted to go after her own happiness. And to me, that was telling, and also made sense to why she was divorced.
There was just an aha moment in me where I said, you know what? You need to tap in, see what's really going on with your happiness. Life is short. Let's go. Let's start working on you and really focusing on what really, really matters here, which is, at the end of the day, your peace, your joy, and your happiness. So
she says that she's divorced because of her husband, in a sense of you know, him and with things that he would do, and the fact that he's not bringing the money he used to, or something to that extent. I'm gonna let you know right now, money is an issue, but it's not an issue that can't be unsolved. On top of that, they weren't lacking. Okay, maybe there's certain standards. Let's say, I don't know, I highly doubt it. You have millions of dollars, I'm assuming. It's not like you can't afford first class. Okay, you might have to give up private jets, but you could still get first class. Okay, but no, it's just, you know, just saying, like, coming to scale down just a little bit shouldn't affect your family. And I think that was my take from this. I don't think she ever saw her husband as someone that was family, because later on she discusses her kids and how her kids are basically her graduation present, she puts it. She was at least able to come out of her curriculum, her marriage, with at least 2 degrees. And I say to that, you know what? Whatever makes you feel good, you know, because you're the one who's trying to express themselves in a way, and it sounds completely irrational to me, because you say that your marriage was a success.
You know, my marriage was a success.
And I'm like, so every divorced person is successful and all the ones who are married are unsuccessful? Or is it rather how you feel about your relationship determining if it was successful or not? See, I'm gonna go with that last statement because I think this comes down to how you feel, because there's nothing rational about it and it's all subjective anyway. Who cares whether it was successful or unsuccessful marriage? That's beyond the point. What she said to me made no logical sense, which means that to me personally, I think that she's more biased to go by how she feels rather than what she actually knows. When it comes to certain decision making in her life, she's made a lot of decisions based on how she feels, likely more so than she's done on what she knows. I'm not saying she doesn't know anything. No, we're not saying that. I'm saying you can know a lot, you can do a lot, but what you decide to do, the decision part, and what moves you one way or another, whether it's what you know, did you go by what you know, or did you go by how you feel? Just listen to her story and things that she's telling a lot of women, and women also in agreement to what she's saying. I'm gonna go with the assumption that a lot of women who relate to her probably honestly do the same thing. They tend to make decisions more so on what they feel rather than what they know. Men are actually on the flip side of that spectrum on average. Nowadays, I would say men are damn near like women because the way they move around these days, sheesh, y'all men are too emotional, man. But besides the point, I'm not gonna go there with them. But yeah, I can speak on just a little bit because passport bros. All right, cool. So let's go back from TMI for a bit. Let's talk about these passport bros. Why are passport bros leaving? Why are these guys leaving the country? Why all Western men from all Western countries decide to go take their talents over to East? Well, to put it quite frankly, that behavior that I was talking about earlier, your happiness being the number one thing that you're worried about in your own relationship, as long as you're happy, you believe that he's happy because you feel positive about what's going on. Again, you're going by what you feel, not what you know. You clearly don't know your husband. I'm sorry, I have to laugh because it's so true. The more I break this down, this is exactly how they would reply. I felt like things were going well in my relationship. And it's like, you don't know if things are going well in your relationship. You just feel what you know. And the thing about it is, men know what's going on in a relationship. Which is why, again, the decisions that they make, it's not going to be based on how they feel, because feelings come and go. And they don't tell us anything, really. It's just, you may or may get some good instincts. You might, like, get lucky every now and then on a feeling that you have. But that's not something you should depend upon. I would not promote that. Although Western society is promoting that heavily. They want men to be more expressive and let it out. And it's like, I get it. You're trying to get men to not suppress their feelings. I don't want men to suppress their feelings either. I want men to take control over their feelings. That's what I want. I want discipline personally. I don't want men out here just being vulnerable. Just think of the word vulnerable. Why do you think the word vulnerable has a negative connotation to it? No one wants to be vulnerable. No one wants to be weak. When I say weak, get this, right? If I didn't have control over how I feel, the control part being what I'm talking about, weak, okay? I could be easily manipulated. Now, I bet there's a lot of women out here who could testify to this. This is why they hate men. Not all women. I'm just saying some who hate men. The ones that do, they can say, I hate men, all men are trash, blah, blah, blah. Because they were probably manipulated through their emotions. They were going off how they feel about their situation and what they thought the other person felt. And honestly, did not go by what they know. And then they get hurt. And then they don't blame themselves. No, the women will never look at themselves in that manner because it doesn't make them feel good. So they're going to look at the man or the world itself as a problem and not the decisions that they made or how they made decisions, because they don't really give too much thought, in my opinion, about why things happen. Because when you have to question yourself, you start to dive in. But the thing is, honest truth, if you question yourself, you might just find some peace. You might answer some things that have gone and, you could have helped yourself out. The more you know, the more you can grow. That's just a little tidbit for those. But going off there, passport bros, okay, that's what it is, man. You have women out here, I believe, like Tia Maui, that once you hear things that you just said, does that sound like wife? No, it doesn't sound like a wife. It sounds like a woman. It sounds like a partner. It sounds like someone who was ready to fire me or divorce me, depending on how she feels. I don't want to be nowhere near something like that. That is the most toxic goddamn thing I ever heard in my life. Her happiness, above all approach, is what matters, because life is short. And that, I don't want to blame her for saying that. Because we have this obsession with time and what we find to be valuable. We value our time, which is why we value technology, because technology saves us a lot of time, but it also cheapens a lot of things too, like relationships. I'll get on to that for another day, but let's just keep it right here though. Value her time, her happiness. All right, she wants to do what she wants to do, but she feels time is short. Well, get this, young lady, life is just but a moment. It always has been, it always will be just a moment. Okay, you're not promised tomorrow. You were lucky to make it as far as you got. Actually, I won't say luck. It just is what it is. Decision making, consequences, cause and effect. You're here because you're here. You know, I couldn't tell what the greater purpose is, but you're here because you're here. On top of that, it's all perspective. Time has two things. It does coordination and also gives you perspective. I could tell you guys, ask you a question, how old do you think I am? And that's also which is based on time, age. And you may say an random about numbers. Then I tell you my real age, and you'd be like, wow, or yeah, that sounds about right, or really, yeah. So perspective, it'll change your perspective once I actually tell you what my age is. So that's all time ever had, is coordination and perception. That's all it really does for us. And because of your perception being so skewed, thinking that life is so short, you are moving in a way that I would call unnecessary. You don't have to make the moves that you're making because you feel that you don't have enough time. You gotta remember, time is just a made-up construct. It's not even real. It's like how can you say time isn't real? I'm saying that the way that it's subjective. We can choose to measure life as seconds, hours, minutes, years, days, or whatever new metric that you want to make. It just gives you perspective. It changes the way you view things. And if you're seeing life as short, then you already have a skewed way of looking at life. It's already going to mess with your decision making, in my opinion. If you had thought the opposite, it wouldn't be what it is. You would feel like, like if you didn't let time constrict the way you move, because that's all it does. Time does constrict you, because again, it blinds you. It gives you perspective, doesn't give you 360. Living in the moment, taking the moments as they come, because that's all life is a moment. You become more grateful, more humble, and being at peace with the situation, because you know moments are going to come and go. You know moments come and go. And the thing is, when you start to base stuff on time and scheduling and all these things that constrict your movement in some ways, and also constricts your perception on what life is really about, it can really mess you up. That's just my opinion. It doesn't serve you no peace to giving in faith into this time thing.
See what's really going on with your happiness. Life is short. Let's go. Let's start working on you.
I'm saying that most modern women, I believe, have the same mindset of time and happiness. Life is short. I have to be happy. I have to. And I'm not going to tell them how they may feel when they get older, because again, I'm giving you that same time frame. I'm not going to be a hypocrite here and say, oh, when you get older, you may see life differently. And well, then again, if you play by the rules of time, then yeah, you are going to see life differently, 100%. But it's like, if I was, well, technically I do qualify as a passport bro, technically. Yeah, my wife, she's from overseas, but I didn't necessarily go out my way to go find a woman overseas. It just so happened to be the roll of the die. It's just one of the situations that happen. Being in the military, go across the world, still types of people, run into types of people, and she just so happened to be someone who qualified, honestly. It's just that simple, and you ask me, what did she do to qualify? Well, she wasn't selfish. She actually gave a damn. And you say, before you start to say, I care too, well, let's break this down, okay? You care when it's convenient. You care when you get what you want. You care when you're happy. That's when you care. All right? When your happiness goes down and you're not getting what you want, your nature shows itself. and you start to give into that demand of I deserve. And it's like, I try to explain this in a way to where I can help, maybe like a flip and reverse it. If men had that same mindset that you guys have when it comes to how I feel, I don't think shit ever get done. Personally, if a man was moved by his emotions, most of the time, shit would never get done, bro. And men, you think men are selfish now? Shit, you have no idea how selfish men can really be if they would just let that shit go, let their emotions go. Actually, yeah, they do. Most of them are in prison. You know what I'm saying? So again, if most men were to operate in that mind frame, they'll be in prison, or you just would see a lot of bad guys out here doing what they want to do. Now the thing is, I don't think women want to know this, or take it as truth, but men know it's true. When it comes to accountability in Western society, all right, women will not take full accountability. They can't. Well, they can if it's a logical decision that they made. If they actually made their decisions based on reasoning, they would take accountability for those. But as I said before, a lot of decisions that they make is based on how they feel, and because of that alone, they take in consideration of everyone else around them. So when they make a decision, it's like, well, I did it because of you. You're the reason why. You know what I'm saying? And again, for us who are outside looking in, it's kind of like, that's irrational. It makes no sense. But as I said before, emotions are irrational. They don't have to make sense. It's about all feelings are just, it's a feeling, good or bad. Do you desire or you do not desire it? There is no necessarily right or wrong about feelings. You know what I'm saying? It's weird because it has no morality. There's no morality when it comes to emotion. It's just energy at the end of the day. But passport bros, again, I keep leaning away from passport bros going towards modern women, but passport bros also are leaving because options. There's some guys who are, I would say honestly, I probably fit in that category at the time, where women didn't desire that type of guy. Like, I wasn't really desirable. Probably still not really after this whole clip. Women gonna hate me after this shit. But nah, it's like, I wasn't that desirable to many women at all, and probably did me some service and justice, because I looking at how society is now, man. Women are selfish as shit, bro. I'm kind of glad I didn't attract a woman like that, but not all women like that. I'm just saying, like, there's a nice chunk of them who have this particular mindset, and it's like, you know, how can I get with someone, negotiate with someone who doesn't want to cooperate and can't be held accountable for anything they do? I can't get with that. And then it's like, once I get with them, well, now I have to be on the defense because this woman can leave me at any point, which is why guys are signing prenups now, and then women get mad about them wanting to sign a prenup, and it's like, no, I ain't gonna lie, I'm not even trying to get to the prenup talk, but these are just behaviors that are happening more frequently in the West. Okay, prenups and having this mindset, well, I can always get divorced. It just going in with bad faith in general, man. It's not good. But you have to do these things because people are becoming more selfish. Like, it's like some of the writing's on the wall. It's right there. But no one wants to omit these things because, well, some people don't want to omit these things because it'll make them feel bad. And they try to avoid the things that make them feel bad in the day. Accountability only comes by way of reasoning through logic. If you're trying to make this an emotional thing, or you're trying to feel good at the end of the day, you're not going to learn anything, and you're not going to be held accountable. It's just that simple. Damn, I really keep going back to that. I'm not trying to, but I'm trying to stick on passport bros. But everything I come up with is, I'm just explaining to you why these men are leaving. Again, either they're undesirable, or they find that women might be just a little too selfish. Or lastly, some of them, like women, like to say they broke. But then again, like, if you broke, how are you able to get a passport and leave the country, plane tickets and everything like that, and get a place out there to live and stuff? That shit ain't cheap. That's not cheap. So I wouldn't say broke men are leaving the country. That's a weird thing to say. But if you're saying, like, for the most part, that these men can't provide a certain lifestyle that you would want, thus equating to broke, okay, we can just go with that. At the end of the day, it's subjective. If you want to say a guy has money, doesn't have the money for your lifestyle, cool. It's whatever you want. At the end of the day, you want that, then go and get it. That's all I gotta say. But yeah, I would say humbleness is another thing too. I don't think women can be humble, bro. I had to look at that for a moment and really examine a lot of behaviors that women just, like, in the West, they don't see it. It's because, again, a lot of things they have seen, their eyes are so goddamn big, bro. Like, their expectations be so high. And they think that they're all well and deserving of whatever it is they have in their mind, whatever they define themselves as based on how they feel about themselves. That's what they feel they should get in return. And it's such an entitled behavior. It's like, I don't know if that was taught or just conditions, you know what I mean? Just the situations that have occurred in society where it was just structured in a way for you to feel entitled based upon the things you've seen. I have no idea how that came to be, but because of that, for instance, women really are, on average, really not that humble, I think. I'll give you an example. The wedding ring thing. This shit is just toxic as fuck, bro. Never has men had to feel so pressured to spend half his life savings for a fucking ring that's supposed to symbolize my love for you. I'm like this, man. Does it look nice? Does it fit? Where's the gratitude? Because you know what's crazy is, she'll say, like, "Oh, I love it. It's so beautiful, beautiful." And then somewhere down the line, she's gonna ask, "How much you pay for it?" What? Why does that even matter? Well, I just need to know, because, see, gratitude out the motherfucking window. The moment you say, "Oh, it costs X amount of dollars," depending on what X you, like, whatever amount you just said, you're gonna get her real reaction, how she really feel about that ring. Because she was happy, right? That first, "Oh, I'm so happy," and how much you pay for it now? Huh? It's like, where do your values even come from? You know what? I'm not even gonna go there because I already know if it's emotions, it doesn't have to make sense at all. It don't have to make sense at all. They can say whatever they want to say about, "Oh, I don't want it to be cheap," or, "I believe I'm worth this much." And typically, I don't think women even know what men are. They think they do, but they really don't. They just have a feeling about men. Well, we try to tell them in the West, y'all don't give a fuck about us. We know y'all don't give a fuck about it, and we are complicit in y'all not giving a fuck about us. But now, because we're really getting a raw deal of a lot of things, it's like, not only do you not give a fuck about us, but you're selfish and you're entitled, and you don't know how to be humble and appreciate nothing that we do, and everything that we are, we're just evil and shit. And then you wonder why we leave. And you say we're the undesirables, whatever, and then they leave because they were ignored, overlooked. No one gave a fuck about them. Still don't give a fuck about them. Even when they're out the country, you still trash them and say all the worst things about them anyway. Again, there's no gratitude for men neither. Like, why would I stick around a place where I'm unwanted? That's why men left. And the fact that it seems like they're the only ones who give a fuck about family, bro. It seems like men are the only ones who actually care for a family. Women out here in the West, on average, it seems they don't give a damn about that. Only thing they care about, if family makes her happy, sure. But ultimately, I don't think women even know what a family, like, it's not something that is structured on emotion. It's structured on discipline. It's structured on knowing. And yes, you're going to have ups and downs in everything in all your endeavors. But to make a priority, like, yo, we just got to make this place happy. As if that's something that's... Look, man, moments come and go. In this moment right now, I don't know what to make of the country, man. Like I said, I think that for the last 50 years or so, women have been getting their gripes off about men not being shit. Men ain't shit, men ain't this, and now we're outworking men. Men are lazy, we're smarter, we're better, we're stronger, feminism, all that stuff like that, right? So we're getting all this while we're here in the West. And you know what? We're just like, you know what? We're just gonna break from all this bullshit, and we're gonna find me a woman who doesn't run her mouth so much, a woman who's actually, attending, attending me as I attend her, a woman that shows me gratitude, a woman that just actually appreciates me and actually says, "Hi, how you doing?" Without me having to go down on bended knee and do sort of crazy shit just to get a hello from her or response. A woman that's not so entitled. I don't know. A woman that's just humble. So yes, a woman who's from a so-called third world country may be a little bit more humble because she doesn't forget where she comes from. She doesn't forget the structure. She doesn't forget family. She doesn't abandon that for the sake of her own selfish desires. That's the biggest key takeaway from all of this shit, in my opinion. Why passport bros exist and why modern women are what modern women are. The world was built for them in a way that they can't. There's so much in the world that distracts them that they've been pulled away from their families. Even some of the talking points I've heard from them, with single parenthood, we try to say that we don't want single parenthood, but they seem to promote single parenthood ever so oftenly, and it's weird. And no matter what the stats reflect, because again, if it don't feel good, they're going to avoid it, and they'll even double down because of pride. At the end of the day, pride in being a woman, foolish pride. It's all emotional. It's all emotional damage, and honestly, there's never gonna be any fixing it because since women's been liberated, they're not gonna take no instruction from men. They're gonna do what they want to do. And the reason why they can do what they want to do because men won't hold them accountable. Men won't put any consequences on the things they do. And they're going to have their way. They're going to have their cake and eat it too sometimes. Because that's really the gold standard, to have your cake and eat it too as a modern woman. Do what thou will. Well, that's what I got to say for today, guys. That's my whole take on this. It's been 30 minutes. All right, man. Peace and love. Take care.